going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Counterpoise Counterpoise podcast. And can we do that one more time? My bad, because I know Marv ain't gonna be able to Hey, everybody! Welcome to another episode of the Counterpoise podcast. We're getting ready to hit you off. I'm one of your co-hosts, Everett Stevenson.
Hello, everybody. I'm your other co-host, Malik Foster.
Hey, everybody, and I am your third co-host. My name is Samantha Adams, and again, we would like to welcome you to our Counterpoise podcast. Every single week, when we bring to you some good topics, we always say they're great topics, and they are. That's not to toot our own horn, but we do have some pretty good topics. And this week, we are talking about Carlee Russell. Oh, boy. So Carlee Russell has been in the news for the past few weeks because she's bugging. Carlee Russell, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the background to Carlee Russell, and then we're just going to go ahead and dig deep. Now, I have an article on my phone rather than pulling up and sharing it. I'm just going to kind of skim through it, right? So Carlee Russell is a young lady, 25 years old, from Hoover, Alabama. She worked for a spa, and she one day decided when she got off of work, she was going to go get some tzatziki's. And then after she got her tzatziki's, she's on the highway. It's I-459 in Alabama. She calls the police. She tells the police she's a baby walking on the side of the road by itself. So then she allegedly pulls over, calls her brother's girlfriend, and while talking to her, she's talking to this phantom baby, and you'll figure out why I call the baby phantom in a minute. This phantom baby, like, are you okay? And then all of a sudden, the girlfriend hears her scream. So she hears her scream, and from what Carlee told people, because Carlee, she went missing for 48 hours. The fact that she went missing for 48 hours is not a lie. The issue is whether or not she went missing on her own or somebody made her go missing. And so when she was found, when she found her way home and she spoke to police, she told them that some man with orange hair came out the woods, snatched her up, forced her to go over a fence, put her in a truck. Then all of a sudden she woke up in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. It doesn't say how she went to sleep or whatever. Then at some point she tried to escape. They caught her. They put blindfold on her, but didn't tie up her hands. Red flag. And then they brought her to some place. Wherever they brought her was some motel where this man and some strange woman made her take off her clothes, and they took pictures of her. They didn't sexually assault her or anything. She escaped again, ran through like 3 or 4 football fields worth of woods and some more stuff. Found herself at her parents' house, which is where she lived, banging on the door with $107 that was in her sock that her kidnappers, her abductors, gave her before she ran. Her story didn't make any sense, but of course, she has to be debriefed, taken to the hospital. Her family couldn't touch her, couldn't go around her because she was so upset. Her boyfriend was putting out messages like, let's give her privacy and her space. She's not in a good space. While she was missing, her family put out a GoFundMe page to help find her. There were parents of real life abducted children, and even those children were found dead, that were volunteering to help go find Carlee. It was very, very emotionally triggering for a lot of people. And then Carlee just came out and said it was fake. She didn't really get kidnapped. She made the story up. And so now here we are. I mean, that's a story kind of in a nutshell. There's definitely lots more details, because when they found her, when they went to the scene of crime, they found her car there, her AirPods, her Apple Watch in her purse, and her hat and her wig on the ground. But when she got fired from her job, they found out she stole some toilet paper and a bathrobe, because remember, she worked in a spa, those are odd things to steal. Like 1 roll of toilet paper and 1 bathrobe. Were you planning this? Like, you know what I mean? So it's all really kind of odd as to how, all of that went down. And it definitely got national attention. yeah, people all over social media, and a lot of it is because of social media, right? Got made national news. You have people all over the country really like hoping to find her and praying for her and giving to her family to help find her. And it's sad because she definitely took advantage.
Yeah, I want to jump in here and just kind of thanks for the background, Sam, and talk about just missing people, right? And we found out later that this was more of a hoax, according to her attorney and even herself, by turning herself in and stuff like that. So we later found that out. So there's a lot of Black women missing, right? There's over 1,000 missing Black people cases. It's a lot of them unsolved. Unsolved cases. They account for about a little over 31% of the missing cases, even though, last census prior to the current one, Black people were only 14% of the population. So they account for about 1/3 of the missing person cases. So this highlighted, the stress and need to find a lot of the Black people that are missing, thanks to the power of the internet, right? People were coming together talking about it. It got buzz, so a lot of resources and man and women power were added to searching for Carlee, right? So that was the good part about it, but the not so good part, unfortunately, it did turn out to be a hoax. And, some people are saying, oh, see, this is why, that resources aren't spent to look for Black people, Black women. But I disagree with that sentiment that some people may have, because a lot of people lie. There's a lot of Karens that lie, do a lot of false reporting, which are white people who are false reporting Black people for crimes, but no one says that about them. So it's just the media, the propaganda of people saying, okay, if one Black person does wrong, it spoils the whole bunch. Like there's one bad apple, but when it's other groups of people, they can have several bad apples and it doesn't spoil the bunch, and they get that presumption of innocence, right? While, Black people may get that presumption of guilt or there's nothing wrong, et cetera, which is definitely wrong and underlying racist practice, in my opinion. So I just wanted to highlight some of that contrast with missing people and the attention that it takes celebrities and, the internet and people complain to the media, a lot of GoFundMes and stuff like that, in order for it to get attention. And something like this, unfortunately, a hoax had to happen for people to highlight a lot of the missing Black women, Black people, period, missing in this country, in the United States.
Yeah. Another thing that I think that we also can see to that, like you guys said, is just the attention that was being given to this case, due to the pressure of the internet and people calling, which is one of the, like you said, one of the positives that we've seen is like how, unity can help bring about change. And I think that goes as a universal rule, not only just in this case, but it can also go in other standards and formats that we look at in fighting injustices in this country. But while also looking at this, Malik, you mentioned something well, like there were other missing cases. I know recently we talked about one where there's been a couple of them, especially within what can be considered to be the Black diaspora, where you had situations with women and the numerous of women that may have been missing out of DC maybe a little while ago. There were reported cases of dozens of women that were missing from within that area in that region. And then we also had other cases where we heard of people who may have been like in the trans community, as women in that community that also have been considered to be missing, and no resources or little resources have been paid towards those individuals. So that's definitely one source in time in which we've seen the issue of resources being utilized for finding missing missing women in this country, especially within the color of being Black. Well, Malik, you referenced something well that I think we saw earlier. There was a clip that I wanted to play that kind of contrasts, and talked about some of the issues in which we have found women of other races to be found guilty of false reporting and what some of those cases have looked like. So I'll go into that real quick. Right. And then this is a clip from the Neva Instagram page.
See what she just did, y'all? She just put y'all team, she put y'all all the way behind scenes. She just messed it up for everybody. I'm gonna need y'all to pump y'all brakes because the story about Lil Ramsey Benet in 1996 didn't add up either. But let the news tell it, somebody just confessed to that situation about a couple days ago. And yet, nobody held that against Quinn Gray in 2009 when she went missing. Now, peep this. This lady lived in a $4 million home and faked her kidnapper so she can go kick it with her little boo thing who worked at the corner store. Matter of fact, her little coin store boo thing tried to tender swindle her own husband out of $50K. It didn't work. She ended up pleading guilty, and I think she got like probation or something like that. But still, that didn't stop law enforcement from going and looking for Sherry Papini in 2016 when she had went missing for 4 days and then showed up at her own doorstep on Thanksgiving by herself. Matter of fact, the government paid for little Miss Papini to go get counseling and therapy and all the kind of stuff that she needed to deal with whatever kidnapping she had went through. That investigation lasted 5.5 years before law enforcement figured out that Sherry had faked her kidnapping so she can go run off with her side boo too. And she only came home because she missed her kids. She ended up getting 18 months in the pen for that. And yet that still didn't stop nobody from looking for Gabby in 2021 when she came up missing. And we all could have used our common sense to tell you what happened to her when her boyfriend who left for her came home by himself in a car that he did not own. So the lesson of the day is whether Black women are victims or victors, for some reason, we are always dragged through the highest scrutiny to prove that we are worthy of protection. So at the end of the day, the next time you find out.
And so, yeah, I think she highlighted a few examples of other women in history who have filed false reports. And I think it's interesting to see exactly what's all going to happen with this Carlee Russell's situation, considering the fact that she has been brought up on charges and arrested as well. But I also think that it's an interesting factor for us to look at with her family. There's been interviews that they've had with, the family discussing the issue. There have been, posts that we've seen from the boyfriend, early on asking for, people to help with the case and look into things. And then also a little issue with that ending off. There's also reports and rumors that there may have been some situation with them prior to her running off, and that may have been one of the reasons why, that she decided to just, leave to, maybe whatever.
Well, we do know she was fired from her job for stealing some stuff. So that could contribute to some things. Maybe she had a situation where she was facing some financial troubles. I'm sure more will come out based off her motives. Now that she turned herself in and everything, and she's going to be charged with false reporting and falsely lying to officers, basically. So,
yeah, I wanted to jump in. I want to go back a little bit with regards to the contrast, black women with other Black women, right? And white.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so one of the things I also want to really emphasize is it's not, Black women specifically is not just an epidemic here in the United States. Now, I looked up the stats. It said that 36% of all women that go missing are Black. And I believe Black people actually make up something like 20% of the population. That's bad. You know what I'm saying? And it is an epidemic, but it's a silent epidemic, like you guys mentioned. But the thing I also wanted to touch on is that's not even just a local issue. That is a global issue. Because if you guys remember a while back, probably about 4 years ago, remember all them girls, 3-4 years ago, with all them girls in Africa were missing, and they still never found all of them, And so it's definitely an issue, and we've done a podcast on this before, so you guys please make sure you go check it out. When we talk about Black females, Black women going missing, and the lack of publicity, or even when you compare it to, and we compared it to on that podcast, a young lady, I can't remember her name, when she went on that trip with her boyfriend, and he killed her on the trip, and then came back with the van, and then disappeared when they were like, "Where's our daughter? Where's she at?" And remember, there was a situation where police were called while they were on the trip, and they just let them go, and he ended up killing her. And so I think it's important for us to remember, like, that is a serious thing. So here it is, you have Black women who already have to fight for every daggone thing, right? We got to fight for everything just to we got to fight for proper medical care and some more stuff. Got to fight to have our doctors listen to us when we tell them we're in pain. But now here we are, we also have Black women going missing, and we have to do all this extra stuff just to get attention. And the thing I think that bothers me the most about this Carlee Russell situation is the fact that we all know that we have to do all of this extra stuff in order to get attention as Black women, to make sure that we get the same treatment, right? Get the same level of attention when our women go missing and our girls go missing. And she literally just took advantage of the system, right? For a couple dollars, more than likely. I'm assuming that's her motive, because nothing else makes sense, especially since people were giving money to GoFundMe pages and everything else. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on with regards to friends and family is I'm pretty sure the police are not done with their investigation. I'm pretty sure they're probably also looking into friends and family to see if anybody else was involved, because the thing of it is even though when they looked at her search history on her Google, they did find things like how to steal money from the register without getting caught, buses to Birmingham. From Birmingham to I think it was Nashville or something. Then there were also things like different things like that. You see what I'm saying? Oh, will you have to pay for an Amber Alert? Almost like saying, if I create a false Amber Alert, am I the one that's going to have to pay for it? So different things like that kind of are indicia of her planning all of this. She also said that she planned it on her own and that nobody else was involved. And the movie Taken. Yep, and the movie Taken. So, you got all of these different things that were going on, but what they don't know is whether or not her family was involved. The thing because they don't know where she was for those 48 hours. They still don't know where she was. And the thing that gets me is, if her family was involved, they're too going to jail for conspiracy, right? Some sort of a conspiracy type of charge, whether it be aiding and abetting, whatever. I don't know. Maybe to commit fraud, something like that. I'm pretty sure they're probably building a fraud case, but right now what they have are these 2 misdemeanor charges that relate to filing false reports. But the thing of it is too, if her family was not involved, like, imagine the kind of trauma and pain you put your family through for your own scam. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't right. That's not right, especially not for your family. And so I did also want to make sure that I touched on that, because here it is, her family is trying to protect her, right? Give her space, give her all of that. But the thing about it, give her space, give her room to breathe, let her heal a little bit. And then we find out that she lied about the whole thing. And she came out by admitting to the lie through her own attorney. She has turned herself in. She's been charged with 2 misdemeanors. Both of them are related to filing false reports. And the maximum sentence for each one separately is 12 months in jail. And in Alabama, it's a $6,000 fine. So if she's convicted, she could get up to 2 years in jail and $12,000 in fines. But she might not. She could easily get probation. They could, do community service. There's a whole lot of other things that she could do instead of going to jail. So I did want to go ahead and throw that.
Yeah. So speaking of the scamming element, I just want to say, kind of on topic, but a little off topic here. It's like, okay, like, things are getting tougher, and we are seeing a lot of these scamming situations come about. Where, I saw recently in Atlanta, in the city that I'm in, currently, that there's thousands of evictions happen, and more evictions happen in just the past couple of months than it happened all year so far, and the year's not even over. So far this year, evictions have surpassed last year even. So it could be a big economic issue where people are going to try to scam and scheme, because I know we all remember the PPP scams and all of this stuff. People faking like they had businesses, pretending like they needed aid, and now 2, 3 years later, 2022, 2023, a lot of people are getting locked up and arrested for or having their vehicles repossessed and stuff like that because they're running scams. So she could have been part of that kind of trend where, okay, she lost her job for committing a bad act against a business, taking stuff, and she's feeling desperate, and she sees a lot of the GoFundMe hustle. So she might have wanted to be a part of that. So her family found out about her lying because originally she was saying, oh, she was too disoriented against the kidnapper. She couldn't. She's fighting for her life. That was the statement that came out. But then they later found out it was a hoax too. So maybe she kept them in the dark and knew that that's probably maybe what they would do. So who knows? I mean, some things are still coming out with the investigation, but as far as the scamming goes, it's kind of clear that she had something in the works due to her searching, her web searching, like Sam said, and due to some of her actions that she did as well. It's kind of clear she had something that was on the works, but what exactly what she had in the works, that's something that's yet to come out to the light. So
let's be clear. Even though she was released from her job because they found out she stole after the hoax, because she stole, even though it was a bathrobe and a roll of toilet paper, it may not have been worth very much. It's still a crime, and so she still stands to be charged for that as well.
Absolutely. And I think in addition to those two things, there's also like just the guilt that comes with like the fact that now like she's infamously known by that, right? Like, some of this could have been for attention, and as some may speculate in regards to the whole relationship and what she had going on. Some of this could have been, an element of, like you said, scheming, and her and somebody else maybe trying to make a plan to, go missing and do the GoFundMe route. So, and some of this could have had regards to, what Sam was talking about, her using some of the things that she taken from the job, you know what I'm saying, in regards to the days that she was going to be gone, and using them. I don't know. It went glamping or something. I really don't know how to speculate what all went on with this whole situation in particular. But we do know that, unfortunately, that there was a level of deception that was definitely in play here. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to go into with our, quote of the day, which is the greatest deception that suffered is the ones that of our own options. And this is clearly a situation in which that occurred, while, of course, a lot of people was worried and a lot of other people were deceived. But I think that starts one with Carlee, because she thought that she may be able to get that played off, and she thought she may be able to pull off those moves. But now we see, because of her own thoughts, like, you know what I'm saying, ultimately, like, the biggest hoax, the biggest joke is on her in that regards, because it's not necessarily going to end off how you thought it might have been. And now, for this week in this country, or excuse me, this time right now, you're looked at as a laughing stock in some senses. You have to hold that scarlet letter right now. And that's not nothing that no one wishes upon any individual who may have just made a mistake or may have been misguided for whatever reasons that it may have been, whether you needed the money, whether, you wanted the attention from someone else, whatever it could have been, you know what I'm saying? If maybe somebody was there who could have probably directed that energy in a different direction, we wouldn't be having to talk about this. But and then someone else who may be suffering for some of the things that she may be feeling, or maybe feeling those type of ways, this can be an option for you to realize that maybe going to the extreme like this isn't the option. Talking to someone, maybe getting some friends or resources that can maybe help you with counseling or something like that can maybe help you figure out those thoughts, figure out the things that you may be questioning.
Yeah, I was going to say, she even lied about being cyberbullied. Like, you know, she's going under the rationale of, you know, some, you know, all good press, all press is good press, right? So her being famous, whether it's for notorious reasons or for good reasons or bad reasons, is good for her and maybe her financial standing. Like, she does stand to gain from this, I think. Even if she just gets, you know, just the minimum punishments allowed by the law, or even some of more maximum punishments, because it's so a high profile situation. She stands to gain because everybody's going to know who she is. You know, she took that mug shot smiling. So, you know, she's probably people are going to want to interview her, do her story, stuff like that. Why you did that. She might have a book come out. So, you know, the hustle is real, possibly. So I just want people to keep a lookout on that, you know, because that's a possibility. So that's all I wanted to say.
I mean, she's definitely probably going to gain money, right? That could have been the goal. It could have been, let me do something minor so that I get judged, but not judged enough where I'm considered to be like a baby killer. Like what's her face down there in Florida, right? What's her name? The girl who killed her baby.
I think I know who you're talking about, but
I think it's Amber something, maybe.
Anyway, we all know.
I know who you're talking about. I know.
Like, killed her baby and tried to blame her mom and dad or whatever. Anyway, at the end of the day, you know, she's trying to get the attention that she wants. I mean, okay, let me do this one little thing. Yeah, I might have to catch a little record right quick. Me, I might have to go do a little probation, maybe a little couple of days in jail or whatever. But what I get out of that, right? Oh my God, the benefits. I become famous internationally, or nationally or whatever. They'll do a story about me and my story, about my version of what happened. I'll get interviews. I'll get, you know, more notoriety, even if it stems from something negative, just like, you know, Malik said. That's absolutely it, right? But at the same time, cancel culture still hasn't disappeared. It's still there. People still get canceled every day, V. So, you know, at the end of the day, even though she might gain from it, it may not end up being as she would hope, especially if they find out, you know, stole some more stuff and they put her a little behind under the jail for a little while. You know what I mean? And get her out the way long enough, have her go sit down, long enough for people to forget about her. Because that's the other thing. We have a real short memory and it won't take very long to forget her. Because what she did, although it was outrageous.
Like she can definitely be, you know, the sensation of her story can go, but I think that it also still will have its moment. You know what I'm saying? Where
it will, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
because people will be able to like be like, oh yeah, what happened to da 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 da? You know what I'm saying? Or yeah, you know, so like yeah, it just might not be as, you know, sensationalized as it's being right now. It may not receive the same level of attention that it's receiving right now. But to the point that you're making, I definitely can see a Lifetime type of story, you know what I'm saying, or some other little type of, you know, movie or thing.
And people might buy her books.
Law and Order type of episode, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But also too, if she starts writing fiction books, people might be more inclined to buy them because we know she talks about these crazy elaborate ruses. You know what I'm saying? So. Sure. And being pathological in all of her foolery. So, you know, at the end of the day, I definitely think that there's notoriety to come of it. The thing I don't like is, what does that do for us as Black women now when we're already desperate to already get help? You know, I can see it now. Oh my God, so-and-so's been missing for 3 days. She's probably just another Carlee Russell. Man, if you don't go look for that girl, you know what I'm saying? Because then that just kind of knocks us down. It sets us back. And that's the thing I don't like about it, because there's actually people out there missing. Well, and to be completely honest, there are people missing. I don't care what color they are, and they all matter. You know what I'm saying? All of their lives matter. There's somebody that cares about them. There are people out there that are missing. And I think that we would be remiss if we, you know, didn't make it seem like it was just Black women, right? But it's just harder for Black women to get Black women to get searched for, you know, and we just got to find a better way. We got to do better. Do better.
Right, I agree. I do feel like this could tarnish Black women's image even more than it's already, put in a negative light in the media. So I know this doesn't help. This is like a whole selfish thing for her, but unfortunately, it harms the group. So this is a situation, like I was saying earlier, like one bad apple spoils the bunch situation where she's the bad apple in this case because she lied and betrayed people close to her and used law enforcement resources, social media, got all that attention for her own potential gain, as we highlighted earlier. So it's an unfortunate situation. So that's all I wanted to say on that.
Yeah, definitely was an unfortunate situation. And while I do disagree, like I'm not gonna let y'all all be down on Carlee and say like she's like, oh my God, the worst of the worst. No, our culture has been taking a hit in this country for quite some time. And I think, unfortunately, if anything, you could probably say another notch in the belt. But you know what I'm saying? I definitely wouldn't say that, that she's just like, setting it off on fire with her sole actions. But I definitely think that this is one that we're going to definitely see a little bit more as to see how or if she make any pleas or if she, goes to trial for these charges, what goes on and what happens next. And look forward to seeing how this case plays out. But before we get ready to go ahead and wrap everything up today, we definitely want to go ahead and talk about our book of the month, which again is The Sixth Man by Andre Iguodala. You guys check that one out. And we also have our Black Business of the Month, which is, again, Take Off Luggage. It's a luggage brand company that sells couple different items, but they have bags that take off for like personal items, and you can, pack up some weekend type of clothes or quick little getaway clothes. You definitely know, like you said, who knows? That could have been something that Carlee could have had with her. Nice little takeoff, you know what I'm saying, luggage, and you know what I mean, gone about her day, and hey, she could have been good. It wheels well, you know what I mean? She could have hopped on the flight without no check bags, no nothing. She ain't got to worry about nobody seeing her or on that train. She could pick up and go. All right. So, want to definitely reference that. Appreciate you, Malik. You know what I'm saying? So, Take Off Luggage, that's definitely one of our Black Businesses of the Month. And we also want to thank everybody. Want to let you guys know to please check us out, like, subscribe, share, some of our videos, go back, check the history out. We've been doing it for a little minute, but we also trying to bring y'all interesting topics, good views on topic, current events and things that's going on, and just trying to, look and see what we see, looking at the pure fast, trying to see the future, you know what I'm saying, and give y'all, some good perspective. So with that being said, you can catch us also on Wednesdays on our Instagram. We go live at around 8:30 with more current events and things of that nature. But yeah, you can find our social medias being posted here after this. And that's all I got.
That's it. That's all. We'll see y'all Wednesday.
Yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. And if you have a topic you want us to discuss, just please let us know. You can shoot us an email. It's on our YouTube channel, or DM us on Instagram as well at Counterpoise Podcast. We love you guys. Peace.